Man, oh man, we are at Detroit Red Wings preseason hockey. Obviously, this will be posted on a Wednesday, so the Detroit Red Wings will take on the Chicago Blackhawks in preseason hockey. You can stream on DetroitRedWings.com. And I thought there was an interesting article from the NHL.com. They were going through the three things that are questions about the Detroit Red Wings. And I think as Red Wings fans, we all have the same questions that they have. And I want to know, let me know in the comments. I really, really want to know because I think a lot of people have the same things, or maybe there is there's one that goes way above and beyond. But when I look at the Detroit Red Wings, there's a couple things that stand out to me. I look at the Detroit Red Wings and I go, I'm really not that confident in the goaltending. I'm not, just not. I don't think Billy Husso could stay healthy. We all know Alex Lyon hasn't played a full season. That's why they have three goalies on the roster. And when you look at who they signed, I mean, look at it. Like they signed Jack Campbell, they signed Cam Talbot. They obviously feel like there is a issue at goaltending. Obviously, they want depth, and it's just something I'm like, okay, I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about. But they got Eric Gustafsson and I think, for a lot of people who say, well, they lost Shane Gothenspirit. Well, if you look at the metrics, Eric Gustafsson has the same offensive metrics and he's better defensively. How many times did we watch Shane Gothenspirit last year absolutely suck in his own end? A lot, a lot. And it was just absolutely it was fathomable how bad he was in his own D end. I just look, NHL.com has a really good they had a really good article. Uh, they had a really good article, and I thought it was interesting, but we'll get to it. So let's get to the first bullet point that they have: goaltending, and this is the one I brought up too. The Red Wings are opening training camp with three goalies: Cam Talbot, Ville Husso, and Alex Lyon. It remains to be seen whether they keep three, who will emerge as starter, or whether the goaltending can help Detroit reduce its goals against 24th in the NHL last season, 3.3 per game. Talbot, who signed a two-year contract, $5 million contract, July 1st, went 27, 20, and 6 with a 250 goals against average, 913 save percentage, and three shutouts in 54 games, 52 starts for the Los Angeles Kings last season. Can a 37-year-old play at a high level for the Red Wings? Can Huso, who was limited to 19 games, 18 starts by injuries last season, stay healthy? Can Lyon, who was hot in January and February before cooling off down the stretch, seize the net and sustain it? This is the number one issue that I have. I'm not even gonna joke with you. I feel like this is the number one issue that I have with this team right now. Like when we think about what this team is doing, when we think about the goaltending situation, I've always viewed Billy Huso as a good goaltender, but he just never can stay healthy. And it's like, man, like, are you ever going to stay healthy? And then, Alex Lyon down the stretch, he was great in January and February, but when we got to March, he was just baked, baked. And it was sad because obviously, you had James Reimer as the backup goaltender, and we all thought that Ville Husso would be able to play, and he wasn't able to play, and then they were relying on Alex Lyon to win all these games, and then you're basically burning them out, so the goalie can't play that much. And do I really believe that a 37-year-old Cam Talbot is going to be the savior in net? No, no. I look at this goaltending room and I just hope someone emerges. I hope someone emerges. I hope someone seizes the net because this is my one fear that I have with the Detroit Red Wings. I think this team is a playoff team, but the only thing that I feel is holding them back is the goaltending. I really think the goaltending is holding the Red Wings back. And obviously, we have Sebastian Costa coming down the pike, who he could be here next year. He could be here in the middle of the year if he progresses well. But look, the goaltending is really the biggest issue, and they really hit home with this with the blurb about can the 37-year-old play at a high level for the Red Wings? Can Huso play, who has played in 19 games, 18 starts by injuries last season, stay healthy? Can Lyon, who was hot in January, February before cooling off down the stretch, season that sustain it? Those are the same questions I got. Can these guys that we are relying on, can they be guys that could help us, you know, get to the playoffs? That's an interesting question. So point two, what's the point three? We'll go to point two. Team defense, the biggest problem for the Red Wings last season was team defense. They added Talbot and goal and forward Tyler Mott, who signed a 1-year contract, $800,000 July 2nd. But they'll need a rookie defenseman, Simon Edmondson, to perform, and the coaches and players as a group to figure out how to possess the puck more and keep it out of their net better. Forward Patrick Kane said everyone needs to play better defensively, not just the players who are in defensive roles. Patrick Kane said something that really, really resonates with me. Last year, if you remember, like I love Daniel Sprong. I think as an offensive player, he could do a lot of stuff, man. I really like Daniel Sprong. But man, like he just sucked it up, man. He sucked it up on the offensive end. I mean, the defensive end. The defensive end, he was absolutely brutal. And there was a couple guys. David Perron was one of them. He was brutal in his own end. I mean, he would win some battles, but he would also lose a lot of battles. He would get outskated, or um, he would get just the teams really win at those guys. And Dave Perron, as good as he was offensively, which I won't bicker about, he's a big loss on the offensive end. Not a big loss on defensive end. Either was Daniel Sprong. Like those are guys that look, offensively they're great. But what is the plus minus of what they're gonna do? If they score 20 goals, but they give up 30, is it really a net positive? Like that's just the reality. Like team defense does need to get better for the Detroit Red Wings. I do agree with that. I think when you got a guy like Dylan Larkin who plays a good two-way game, JT Compher, Andrew Copp that play a good two-way game, I think that it's on the players to really do what the coaches tell them to do. Because you look at some of these better teams in the NHL, they all have the same philosophy, playing defense, and it's a team game. And if you don't have five, players playing defense in your own zone, you're gonna be screwed. And your goalie better be really, really good. So I really look at that one line that they say in there where they said the biggest problem was for the Red Wings was team defense last season. And they talk about Simon Edmondson, who I think is going to be great this year. Just watch. But this is the second bullet point that I do agree with. I'm in full agreement with their two bullet points. That NHL.com, I forget the writer, but he had two good bullet points. I love it. Third bullet point. Let's get to the third bullet point. This is replacing offense. The Red Wings ranked ninth in offense, 3.35 goals per game. And on the power play, 23.1% last season, but lost forwards Robbie Fabry, David Perron, and Daniel Sprong, and defenseman Shane Gothisbehere and Jake Wallman in the offseason. These five players combined for 75 goals and 199 points last season, including 18 goals and 74 points on a power play. Detroit will need contributions from forward Vladimir Tarasenko, who signed a 2-year, $9.5 million contract, and defenseman Eric Gustafsson, who signed a 2-year contract, a 2-year, $4 million contract July 1st. They're counting on Kane to produce, Lucas Raymond to keep developing, and forward Alex DeBrincat to cash in on more opportunities. Out of these three bullet points, I think the first two I agree with. The third bullet point, I think that the offense can be replaced. Now it's gonna depend on a couple things. Who comes up? Is it gonna be Jonathan Berggren? I think it is gonna be Jonathan Berggren. Can he play a two-way game? That's the one question I have with him. He's a good offensive player, but man, is he bad defensively. Does a player like Carter Mazur or Nate Danielson or Marco Casper make the roster? Those are legitimate things. And if one of those makes the roster, it's all bets are off. And Albert Johansson could be making the roster on the defensive end. Look, I'm not really worried about the production and offense. I think that they're going to be good offensively. I thought the Red Wings' biggest problem last year wasn't offense. Like, as good as they were offensively last year, they were wretched defensively. And if they could just shore it up a little bit defensively, and they kind of hedge back a little bit to like 12th or 13th or 14th in goals, but they're better defensively, I think that's a net positive, don't you? I mean, that's just my opinion. Like if the goaltending's good, the team defense is good, and they're like not in the bottom 10 of the NHL in goals against, I think that they're gonna be fine. That was my biggest issue last year was goals against. I thought that, even if you it doesn't matter how much you score. Like, it really doesn't matter how much you score. They were winning games that they were pretty much falling behind. They were coming back. It was pretty brutal to watch. But when you talk about the Detroit Red Wings last year, like it was just a tale of two teams. Like January, February, they were a phenomenal team. They get to March. I remember March vividly because that New York Islanders game. I went and asked my future father-in-law to marry his daughter. So the Islanders game was not good, and that was the downfall of the Detroit Red Wings season. And you could see right there that there was issues. There was major issues, and it went into the St. Louis game, and then they went on that trip and they lost Arizona, and that just it's not good. They lost Arizona coming home. Like it was a brutal way to end the season, and partly because I didn't think they had the goaltending. Their team defense wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, and I think these 3 bullet points are on they're pretty well on straight. I wanna know what you think in the comments. Please let me know in the comments. Let me know what your bullet points are. Like, is it team defense? Is it goaltending? Is it something else? Is it coaching? Like, let me know in the comments. I'd love to talk, hockey. I'll talk hockey in the comments. I'll definitely respond back to your comments. So, let me know in the comments, and we'll have more Red Wing conversations moving forward, especially with the Red Alert podcast coming back in a few. She's busy with her job, so we're gonna do that coming up soon. But stay tuned to that and follow the Red Alert podcast page on Facebook and Instagram, and then go on Twitter for on X. I mean, I keep calling it Twitter, but it's X. But go on X for more Red Wings content too. And we'll speak to you in the next Detroit Red Wings video on JC Sports. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.